Right, so here I am back in the garage again with the layout sort of in parts and temporarily wired up, but I've got a problem. The exhibition just over a week ago went really well and everything ran really well. However, during the course of the exhibition I only ran about 4 my trains, and that is because for a few months several of the trains and wagons were struggling round the curve round this end of the track underneath the farm. Something is derailing a lot of the engines and wagons and carriages too, and I can't for the life of me find out what it is. So I've got a very difficult decision to make, and it's possibly because the track is quite sharp there, or it's moved, or something has happened to it in the last few months. But so what do? Do I carry on running it with just 4 or 5 trains, or do I do something about the track and enable all the trains to run smoothly? So I've got a big decision to make, and I'm not 100% sure what to do. Several of the trains are derailing, several trains and wagons and carriages are derailing. Not all of them, but just 1 or 2 of them. So I can only run certain trains and certain wagons successfully around the track. 1 or 2 of them can only go in one direction for some reason. So I think what I'm going to have to do is decide, am I just going to carry on running the train in a limited capacity, or do I need to do something more dramatic and take up the track and relay it? To relay the track I'm going to have to remove the farm and everything on top, which would be quite a major change, I think. So here's the farmyard, and there's a tunnel here where the train goes underneath the farm and comes around back into the fiddle yard. So I think the only way forward would be to cut across here and down here and take out this whole section here and relay the track, and then somehow try and put this back in as it was seamlessly. It's not going to be an easy project to do, but I think it's going to be the only way forward for me at this time. Well, yesterday I did a bit more experimentation around this curve here, and I identified about 3 different places that different carriages and wagons were coming off. The one with the black loco going around there is probably the sharpest bit, but there's other carriages that were coming off in different places. So I think I've decided overnight that I am going to do major surgery to the layout, take out the farm and replace the track. The track was all flexi track, so it is quite a tight curve, but I did check it before I started to finally lay it, and the trains I used all worked. But for some reason, whether it's the heat of the summer, I don't know, it's not running so well as it was. So I am going to replace all the flexi track with a Pico set track, and I'll see how I get on with it. So the track is all laid on thick plywood, so there's no problem with the strength of that. The actual farm is built on mounting board, which is quite thin and easy to cut, and that is set upon some yoghurt pots and some other cardboard boxes that just happen to be the perfect height that I wanted. And the yoghurt pots have kept the board very strong, very firm, and been really a good idea. I was quite inspired to use them, I think. So what I'm going to start to do is cut behind the farmhouse and in front of the barns towards the tunnel entrance, and at the back here cut it about here, which should give me really good access to the track below. Right, so here we go. I'm going to start cutting along the boundary at the back here, and let's see what happens. And there it goes, farmyard's gone. Right, I've now got some Pecco set track. It's a first radius curve, and I've laid some on top of the layout, so it's going to go from this point to the fiddle yard all the way around, and you can see there it's going to be hopefully a lot smoother curve round to the other side there, and picking up the flexi track around the corner. So that's all Pecco set track, first radius curves, and that's approximately what it's going to look like when it's done. It should be a much smoother curve all the way around there once it's taken up the old track and laid down the new. Let's see how that goes. The other decision I really need to make is there's the fiddle yards around the back of the layout, and it comes down here behind this station, and there's a point here that I've actually wired in to go off to a fiddle yard if I ever need to make one. So it'll leave the layout there to a larger fiddle yard. So the decision I really need to make now is, do I need that point in there as it goes off round back under the farm, or do I take that point out and remove the track to the fiddle yard, or do I leave that point in there? It's the next big decision I need to make now.